Today on Screener to Stream It.
Flagrant historical inaccuracies.
Oh, wait, though, are they fun?
Oh, yeah.
Is there violence?
Oh my gosh, so much violence.
Then I don't see a problem here. Overlord is rated R for strong bloody violence, disturbing images, language, and brief sexual content. It is the story of a group of special forces soldiers who are being dropped into France, hours before the D-Day invasion is supposed to happen, and they have been tasked with taking out a radio tower, not actually on the beach in Normandy. And the story basically consists of them, everything goes wrong, the plane gets shot down, they don't land at the target they're supposed to, they have to travel through the woods, get to this town, and in the end we come to find out that the church that this tower is sitting on is not actually the church anymore. It has been turned into a research facility that is now full of zombies that are trying to kill everybody and take over the world. Yay. Is that about it?
That's about it.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
We got together and we decided this is pretty good.
So I was completely and totally surprised by this movie, and actually in a good way, because it was not what I thought it was going to be going in, but that was good for me. Because from the trailer, I thought we were going to see a zombie movie with about 5 seconds of World War II stuff in the beginning, and that is totally not what we got. We almost got a World War II movie with some zombies thrown in at the end.
What it was kind of Bridge on the River Kwai crossed with Reanimator.
Okay.
You just throw it in a blender, out it comes. I liked it.
Oh, and I did. I enjoyed it. The first segment when it started, and it was, because when it starts, it's almost like it's not a horror movie, right? It's not a zombie movie. When it first starts, it's World War II, and I love that part of it, on the plane with the bombs blowing up, the audio in the theaters, and man, it was great. And then they landed on the ground and everything just went terrible, and it was this amazing, action-packed ride for the first 20 minutes or so of them just.
And you got into it as a war movie, right?
Yeah, I was when I sat down, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I was totally into it as a war movie. And then we start to get hints that something's not quite right, something's kind of squirrely, and after that we get into, then it goes really off the deep end with zombies and mutant people and whatever, and it didn't, for me, that didn't break the movie for me. I got sucked into the war stuff, and then I was okay with the zombie stuff, but the war stuff, to me, that still was there with the zombie stuff, was really good, really amazing.
What I think really worked for this movie was, while you're watching it, it's easy to watch. They kept it bright a lot of the times, and you see that a lot in war movies where they really want you to pay attention to the detail. But then a lot of times in scary movies, they want to keep it dark. They want to have a lot of jump scares. And I think this movie did a really good job of not focusing on anxiety when you're watching it. You don't have to squint to see the screen. You can see everything in front of you, so it makes the horror elements work really well with the war movie elements.
And you mentioned that they were dropping hints going through it, so it's not like a huge shock whenever you start hitting the horror movie elements. So it's not like From Dusk Till Dawn, where Robert Rodriguez just completely turns left and turns it into a vampire movie just on a dime.
Yeah, and they do just kind of, there's little hints of stuff is going wrong and weird things are happening. And when it does turn into full-on zombie movies, the first time I actually had any problems with it, and they weren't huge problems. There's the overuse of CGI blood. I hate CGI blood in anything. It just doesn't look like, how hard would it be to put a squib on somebody and spray them, And some of the monsters or zombies or whatever they were kind of sketchy there at times.
Especially when the CGI blood doesn't seem like it's timed correctly. There's this one scene, I'm sure you remember, where he's using the rifle to bludgeon someone, and he bludgeons, then the blood splatters like a second later. And it's like, I feel like I'm watching a 3D movie, but I'm not wearing 3D glasses here.
You're right, it didn't really feel like that. And there was one of the zombies, the one that got burnt at it was towards the end there, the one that chased the girl through the building at times was just, and not all the time, like it wasn't like, it didn't pop up on the screen, I didn't go, ooh, no, but it popped up on the screen and I was like, and then there was a couple of moments there where like, they could have done better on that. They could have, And again, I love practical effects, so I think that would have been a great instance for it. So that knocked it down a little bit for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, you said you had some problems with it. What was something that...
Well, I don't want to get too much into the historical accuracy parts, but there were some things that when you're looking at it as a war movie, you'd expect it to be a little more consistent with history, but it wasn't always. One of the things I thought was a missed opportunity I would have just loved to see was you got the woman in the film who's like the lead female character, and she's obviously has a problems with the Germans that are in her village. I thought there was an opportunity to talk about the French resistance and how it was involved in World War II a little bit. She already had the leather coat on and she was already hunting in the woods, and then it just like that must have gotten written out of the script to save on time. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of different from what you said, but thinking about that, she did not play the damsel in distress, though. I did like that. She was like a strong character when it come time for basically they get whittled down to 3 or 4 guys. There's just not enough guys to do the mission, and she has to go in and save her brother, and she goes in and does it. I like that. And I looked up reviews afterwards, and pretty much every negative review said the same thing you just said, and I just don't get it, though. It doesn't, because to me, like, I went in expecting a zombie movie. I was not looking for historical accuracy whatsoever. And when the history started, I'm like, wow, that's realistic. Like, oh, that's cool. That kind of drew me in, but then I got kind of sucked back out. But like you said, they did trail it in nicely. So I just didn't feel that way, but I think a bunch of people did. Anything else?
No. Going into it, I'd completely forgotten which movie that it was we were going to see, so I had zero expectations.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think it was just a fun ride from beginning to end. If you just want to go in and shut your brain off and just watch some action on a screen and lose a couple hours.
And I love that. And I think too, this is a great one for theaters because of this kind of the huge, over the top, the violence and the explosions and the sound.
And just
really,
the scope of things.
Yeah, it's just a huge movie, and it really did benefit from the big screen and the theater experience. All right, so if you don't want to travel to the theater and see Overlord, or if you've already seen it and you want something similar, what is your recommendation?
Okay, I'm going to recommend Dog Soldiers. It's another movie, has a bunch of soldiers, directed by Neil Marshall, and much like this, it goes into kind of a supernatural element. It has a pre-Gotham Sean Pertwee, and I haven't seen it in a while, but remember really enjoying it.
Well, I'm going to go with one y'all are probably going to hate, but I'm going to say Resident Evil. Because it kind of does the same thing to me. It started off and it was kind of this exploratory, something has gone wrong in this facility, and when they get down there, this chemical has leached out and turned people into monsters and stuff. And I got kind of the same feel. Like you said, it's a popcorn movie. You just shove the popcorn in and watch everything explode, and it was great. And I got really a lot of the same feeling, even though it didn't have the war element there. So that's my recommendation.
I would say if you don't want to watch this movie, I'm going to focus more on the war and the acting and character aspects. I think Inglourious Bastards would be a good alternative to this movie if you're not really feeling zombies.
All right.